Hey y'all, this is John Trent from Bounty and Comics. I've got some James Bond news for you today. So the latest James Bond actor to come out in favor of a female James Bond is Pierce Brosnan. He joins Daniel Craig. Thor actor Chris Hemsworth has also advocated for a female James Bond. And this is what Brosnan told The Hollywood Reporter. I think we've watched the guys do it for the last 40 years. Get out of the way, guys, and put a woman up there. I think it would be exhilarating. It would be exciting. Nah, Pierce, it would more than likely be boring and lead to tons of empty theaters. It would be the opposite of exhilarating and exciting. Gender swapping a character is not exciting or exhilarating. It's pandering and pathetic. In fact, Rosamund Pike described a female James Bond as sloppy seconds. Pike, who played opposite Brosnan in the James Bond movie Die Another Day, stated, quote, "James Bond is a character that Ian Fleming created, and the character is a man. It's a very masculine creation. Why should a woman get sort of sloppy seconds? Why should she have been a man and now it has to be played by a woman? Why not be a kick-ass female agent in her own rights? Why not? Makes sense to me. We've seen lots of kick-ass female agents in the James Bond franchise, including Pike's villain. But Pike's not the only person to have strong feelings about James Bond. British news personality Piers Morgan wrote an entire op-ed in the Daily Mail slamming the idea of female James Bond, even taking shots at Brosnan. He described him as a feminist by proxy, and then he would go on to describe Brosnan, Hemsworth, Craig, and all the others wailing about a female James Bond as a virtue-signaling bandwagon. He would make an impassioned defense of Bond. I agree with most of them, but let me just kind of go line by line here. He wrote, "No, I object to it because James Bond is a man, was always intended to be a man, and should remain a man." I totally agree. Bond should remain a man. That's the way he's written. Okay, and then Morgan says, "You can make Bond a black man. I love to see Idris Elba take over from Craig or any other ethnic persuasion man for that matter, but you can't make him a woman." All right, I disagree with Morgan here. Bond should remain a white man. Again, that's the way he was written. If you're gonna make that argument that Bond should always remain a man because that's the way he was written, you should also be able to make that argument that he should remain a white man because that's the way he was written. But so here, Morgan continues. "Nor can you suddenly make him all woke because that's not what he ever was in any of Fleming's novels. Bond, like him or loathe him, is a male, straight, misogynist loner who prefers tuxedos to dresses." Now, Morgan is absolutely wrong here. Bond is not a misogynist loser. So let me give you a refresher on the word misogynist because it gets thrown out there a lot. I don't think a lot of people actually know what it means. Here's the Merriam-Webster definition. It's pretty simple. A person who hates women. Bond most certainly doesn't hate women. That's the complete opposite of his character. Bond most certainly enjoys women and their company. I mean, that's what he does. That's what makes Bond Bond. Now, if Morgan had described Bond as a womanizer, then that would be accurate. But a womanizer is not a misogynist. James Bond is not a misogynist. A misogynist and a womanizer are two different things. James Bond definitely does not hate women. They literally had M become a woman, and he had a great relationship with her. Like the whole Daniel Craig M thing is all about him trying to get revenge for her dying. If he hated women, he wouldn't be doing that. I mean, you have the whole Ava Green with Daniel Craig. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's all the women he makes love with throughout the entire movie franchise and in the novels. There's definitely doesn't hate women. So after making his impassioned defense, Morgan would actually take the offensive and threaten to launch campaigns to have feminist icons turned into male characters. Now, I actually think this is a great idea. So this is what Morgan wrote. "But if the feminists do get their way, then let me put everyone on notice. I will launch revenge campaigns to have Bridget Jones turned into Brian Jones, Wonder Woman turned into Wonder Man." That might be a little difficult. Obviously, Marvel and DC. Wonder Woman is a DC character. Wonder Man is a Marvel character. And then Morgan adds, "And Sleeping Beauty into a bearded bloke." So I actually think that's great. I wouldn't mind seeing him actually launch these campaigns already. I mean, that's what we're seeing with people. I believe her name was KT Roberts in The Independent. She was basically saying, get rid of these white male superheroes and replace them with everything. So you're already having campaigns like this. So I wouldn't. I'm totally kind of for Morgan launching these revenge campaigns proactively instead of them being revenge. But Morgan and Rosamund Pike are not alone in wanting to keep Bond a male. A number of former Bond girl actresses have made it clear that they think Bond should remain a man. That's right, the Bond girl actresses think Bond should remain a man, while we have two Bond actors who think that a woman should be Bond. It's just it's just mind-blowing here, mind-boggling. So this is what Ava Green, who played Vesper Lynn in Casino Royale, said, quote, "I'm for women, but I really think James Bond should remain a man. It doesn't make sense for him to be a woman." She added, quote, Women can play different types of characters, be in action movies, and be superheroes. But James Bond should always be a man and not be Jane Bond. There's history with the character that should continue. He should be played by a man," end quote. So Trina Parks, who was also a Bond girl, responded to alleged leaks that Captain Marvel actress Lashana Lynch would play 007 in the upcoming No Time to Die film. This is what Trina had to say. Quote, "Lashana is a great actress, but I don't really agree with her becoming 007. It's not about her color. A black James Bond, sure, but as a man. And then she added, quote, "It's just because Bond, the spy code named 007, was written by Ian Fleming as a man. Miss Bond doesn't have the same ring to it," end quote. Now, even Daniel Craig's wife and British actress Rachel Weisz stated, Fleming devoted, this is a quote, "Fleming devoted an awful lot of time to writing this particular character, who is particularly male and relates in a particular way to women. Why not create your own story rather than jumping onto the shoulders and being compared to all those other male predecessors? Women are really fascinating and interesting and should get their own stories." So it's more than likely James Bond will remain a man. Bond producer Barbara Broccoli declared, quote, "Bond is a male, he's a male character, he was written as a male, and I think he'll probably stay as a male." And then she would go on to say, "And that's fine, we don't have to turn male characters into women, let's just create more female characters and make this story fit those female characters," end quote. While Bond might remain male, the franchise appears to be taking huge steps in the wrong direction if the leaks concerning Lynch's character being called 007 are true. Not only are those leaks concerning, but they brought on Phoebe Waller-Bridge, solo Star Wars actress. She played the super annoying woke robot L337, and they brought her in to give Bond a reported Me Too makeover. And so not only did they reportedly bring her on, but Barbara Broccoli noted that the Bond franchise has to adapt in the future and has noted that it kind of already has. So she says, quote, "But look at the way the world has changed, and I think Bond has come through and transformed with the times. I've tried to do my part, and I think particularly with the Daniel Craig films, they've become much more current in terms of the way women are viewed." So this is so you have to take this maybe with a grain of salt, because Broccoli had previously indicated she might be open to a gender swap. And so she said, quote, "These films tend to reflect the times, so we always try to push the envelope a little bit. Anything is possible," end quote. I'm with Piers Morgan on this one for the most part. I disagree with him calling Bond a misogynist. I also disagree with him thinking that Bond can be race swapped as well. But I do think James Bond should remain a man, and he should remain a white man. That's who James Bond is. That's how he was originally written. If they want to introduce other spies that are not James Bond, they should continue to do so as they have done in the past. No one is stopping them from creating new, iconic characters that could be spun off into their own franchise. But leave James Bond alone. That's my thoughts on the matter. What do y'all think? Do you think James Bond should remain a white male? Are you open to changing James Bond? If you are open to changing James Bond, what kind of changes would you want to see? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm John Trent, and you've been watching Bounty in the Comics. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.